Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the scientific committee and Gentis to invite me in this very nice conference and beautiful city. Thank you. Today, I will show you data from the PGT consortium, ESHRE consortium, so from the European Society of Human Reproduction and Embryology. And here the agenda. So first, we will see just the evolution, brief explanation of the evolution of pre-implantation genetic testing. And then I will show you the data collected by the PGT consortium from ESHRE. Okay. And then I will show you also an update of the result, the outcome of a mosaic embryo transfer. This outcome is collected by the International Registry of Mosaic Embryos. Finally, I will give you just some information about our experience from Eurofins Genoma and Eurofins Gentis on PGT. So let's start with the evolution of PGT. Pre-implantation genetic testing, as we know, is able to give us an overview of the chromosomically asset of the embryo and select the embryo with higher chance to implant and produce a healthy baby. So since the introduction of PGT in 1919 from Alan Endyside, the technology evolved very rapidly. So not only we can detect monogenic disease through PGT, so PGT-M, but we can also detect all the chromosomic asset of the embryo, so all 24 chromosomes, but also structural rearrangement. And now, in the last few years, we can also extend other analysis, the analysis to microdeletion, for example. In the 2020, and then there have been introduced new technology, such as pre-implantation genetic for polygenic risk, for polygenic disease, and also analysis for de novo mutation. Actually, in Europe, and particularly ESHRE, are studying and register the result only related to consolidated technology. So PGT-M, PGT-A for aneuploidy, the detection of aneuploidy, PGT-SR for structural rearrangement, and of course, PGT for monogenic disease. Here, I will show you the data that have been collected at the PGT consortium. PGT consortium was founded in 1997 from the ESHRE. The aim of consortium is to collect data on the accuracy, also reliability, activeness, and safety of PGT, of course. But it's also the aims of the ESHRE is also to establish minimal standards and promote best practice. And also, of course, exchange of view, idea, and network with other members. As you can see here, these are data collection from 2008. And as you can see, the indication increased toward the PGT-A, reflecting that the more used the indication for PGT is for chromosome inter setup. And then also in the last year, we can observe also an increase in the request of combination of PGT-A with the PGT-M and PGT-SR. So in Europe, PGT is commonly performed. The percentage of PGT-A cycle was varies between 40% and 50%, of the overall PGT treatment and 41% of the whole PGT cycle, according to the UK registry. About the evolution of indication in Europe, we can observe raising in the indication for advanced maternal age. This reflects, of course, the Europeans' rising average maternal age. And regarding the PGTM, these are the top 10 indications. As you can see, we observed a change in between 1997 to 2006 and the data obtained in 2021. As you can see, the most frequent indication for PGTM in the past year were cystic fibrosis, DMA, and FRAXA and SMA, while in 2021, we have much more requests for Huntington disease, for neurofibromatosis type 1, so for NF1, but also for breast cancer, familial and breast cancer and susceptibility to cancer. And if we will look at specifically for cancer predisposition, we can see that across different years, so from 1997 and 2016 and 2020, we can observe a very impressive increase in this request. So for NF1, we go through to 2%, from 2% to 60.57%, and also for breast ovarian cancer susceptibility, we can see a drastic increase, and also for BRCA1. Regarding the heart method, biopsy stage, and analysis method, in the ESHRE registry, we observed an increase in the use of ICSI instead of IVF, for example. So right now, we don't have the IVF method is completely disappeared. Just a few clinics use IVF. So in Europe, in the registry, we have all cycle performed through ICSI. And regarding the stage of biopsy, as you can see, we observed as a reduction in the cleavage stage toward an increase in the blastocyst stage biopsy. And also for method of analysis, you can see that the majority of method used is VGA. So all the tests are performed indeed with NGS or ACGH, but I will say NGS is a technology that right now is more used in PGT. Regarding transfers and pregnancy outcome, here I just show it here all the pregnancy outcome, yes, clinical pregnancy outcome for the different indication. As you can see, for PGT-SR, we have 36% of clinical pregnancy rate, 34% for PGTM, and for PGTA, 50%. Now, I want to show you the data regarding mosaic embryo. And actually, these are data that are collected by the International Registry of Embryo Transfer, mosaic embryo transfer. And yes, this IRMET was founded in 2017-18. And we now collect data, and I will show you the update of this data. First of all, I want to just remember you about some information about mosaic embryo. Embryonic mosaicism is a very common phenomenon in embryo obtained after IVF. Mosaic embryo are characterized by the presence of an euploid and the euploid cell within the same embryo. Arise from mitotic error occurring after fertilization, usually after the first and second division. And the quantity of aneuploid cells present in the embryo depend on the moment in which the error occurs. So usually, when the errors occurs very early during the development, we will have more aneuploid cell in the embryo. So at the end, we can observe different level of mosaicism in the embryo. So this is very important because how I will show you, the different amount of aneuploid cells within the embryo will impact the clinical outcome of the embryo. Here, yes, until 2015, mosaic embryo were considered abnormal, so were not selected for transfer. But after the publication in the New England Journal of Medicine, published by Professor Greco, it has demonstrated that the mosaic embryo indeed have the chance to implant and result in healthy baby. And this, now, with this new knowledge, many centers are now offering mosaic embryo transfer in the women without euploid embryo available for transfer, of course. Which is the impact of mosaic embryo on IVF? Actually, we have different studies. Here, okay, in this part of the slide, there are summarized the result of different retrospective study from Manuel Viotti, some of my study also, demonstrating that the clinical the outcome, and this is ongoing pregnancy and birth rate, are influenced by the composition of mosaic embryo. So, if we compare the outcome with the euploid embryo, we can observe that in general, the outcome is lower compared to the one from euploid. But if we divide the different mosaic embryo according to the type and the level of mosaicism, you can see that the clinical outcome varies. So we can observe mosaic embryo characterized by low segmental or high segmental that perform better compared to mosaic embryo with low mosaicism and one chromosome, or low mosaicism and two chromosomes, and the worst outcome is the one observed with the high complex mosaicism. On the contrary, there are one study actually, what was a RCT study from Capalbo, demonstrating that there isn't this different outcome between euploid embryo and mosaic embryo with low level of mosaicism. So at this moment, actually, the data are very few because the data produced by the RCT study are based on 400 mosaic embryos. The one that we present here, and I will show you, are based on 3,000 mosaic embryo. But of course, this is still few number. We need to collect more data. And for this reason, the International Registry of Mosaic Embryo asked center to send the data of the mosaic embryo transfer outcome and collect all this data, because it's very important at this moment to have a clear vision of the clinical outcome of mosaic embryo. It's very important to collect data, because only with data and with number we can determine the real impact of mosaic embryo on IVF. So the aim of IRMET is to increase the currently limited data on mosaic embryo transfer, collecting both prospective and retrospective data, of course. With this data, we hope to promote the formulation of an evidence-based priority scheme for mosaic embryo transfer, and also provide guidance and networking opportunity for PGT Center. Which kind of data we collect? We collect data on morphology of mosaic embryo, of course, because morphology is also important, not only the chromosomic aspect, but also morphology. And then grade and biopsy day. We collect, of course, PGTA results, so the mosaicism level, the type of mosaicism, but also prenatal information. These are very important. So data from NPT, but also from CVS and amnion. And also we collect also data from postnatal outcome, so the birth weight, but also the length of gestation. And then another very important parameter that we collect is a platform. The NGS platform used for PGT analysis. As I will show you, this is very important because a different platform, also if you are using NGS, but with different platform, we may have different result and different resolution for mosaicism. And this could be the reason for the different outcome obtained by the different study. So right now, we collect more than 50 different variants. We have a central database in which we collect the data. And now we collected about more than 3,000 mosaic embryos. And also clinical outcome, and so more than 600 birth information, and also prenatal testing result. The idea is to, we have right now 30 laboratories from all around the world. We collect also from the US and from China. And they are using a PGTA platform based on NGS, but validated with the internal system, of course. And we, at the end, we compare our result with euploid embryo. Right now, we collected more than 90,000 euploid embryo that, of course, we use as control. Here are some data. First, the different outcome, the ongoing pregnancy rate and spontaneous abortion rate. As you can see, there is a significant reduction in ongoing pregnancy rate in mosaic embryo group. And on the contrary, there is a significant increase in spontaneous abortion. If we look at the different composition of mosaic, we can see that the mosaic composed of wool chromosome performed showed a lower ongoing pregnancy compared to mosaic embryo in which all wool chromosome and segmental mosaic are combined. In any case, for both categories, we observed a significant reduction of clinical outcome, in this case, ongoing pregnancy rate. And also here, I divided, the group based also on taking in consideration also morphology, because as I mentioned before, morphology is very important. So when you evaluate an embryo, you need to, of course, take in consideration also the morphological grade. And as you can see again here, also if we compare mosaic embryo with wool chromosome and good morphology, so in good prognosis patients, we still observe a reduction in ongoing pregnancy rate compared to those obtained with the euploid embryos. And also mosaicism embryo with good morphology and good prognosis patients. As you can see, there is still a difference. So if we also divide the group of mosaic embryo based on the type of embryo, again, these are data obtained from 3,000 mosaic embryos. Again, you can see that the level of ongoing pregnancy rate depends on the composition of mosaic embryos. And also, if we compare the result that we obtained in the different here, so for example, here I show you the result obtained in 2024, was it 2023 and 2020? As you can see, again, we can observe this difference based on the level of mosaicism and the type of mosaicism. And here, I want to show you the different in clinical outcome among centers. As I mentioned before, it's very important to take in consideration the technology that we are using, but also, of course, single parameter of the different laboratory. And here I compared the ongoing pregnancy and birth rate in 4 different centers. And as you can see, there is a different ongoing pregnancy rate among the different centers, okay? But if you compare within the center the mosaic outcome with those of euploid, you can see that the difference is still present and still significant. So it's true, we can have different ongoing pregnancy for mosaic embryo in the different laboratory, but still the difference in outcome between mosaic and the euploid embryo is still present. Okay, so when we compare results among different studies or different groups, it's very important to understand which kind of technology are using, because this can influence the clinical outcome. And again, also here, if you divide the mosaic embryo based on the level of mosaicism, you can still see the difference in the different clinics, in the different centers, but again, the difference between low level of mosaicism and high level of mosaicism is still present. Here, the clinical outcome, the postnatal outcome. We analyzed also the weight at birth and the length of gestation in euploid, mosaic embryo, the total group of mosaic embryo, and mosaic embryo characterized of Wool chromosome. And as you can see, there are no difference in the newborn data, so neither in the weight at birth or length of the gestation. What about the fetus? The mosaicism remain in the fetus or in the baby? In the baby, no. We didn't see any baby with the same chromosome alteration that we observed in the PGT. So among the 3,000 mosaic embryo that we have in our registry, the baby were all healthy. But if we will look at the fetus, so prenatal analysis, as you can see, we found 7 different cases in which the same mosaicism obtained, diagnosed in the PGT, during the PGT, was found also in the pregnancy. Okay, so these are cases with low level of mosaicism, but also cases with high level of mosaicism. And as you can see, we detected the same mosaicism in the prenatal test or in POC. So of course, these are very rare cases, but still present. So the main findings of this of the IRMET is that mosaic embryo, the analysis confirms that their implantation and developmental potential is influenced by the degree of mosaicism, but also by the type of mosaicism. And that the low level of mosaicism perform better than high level of mosaicism. Of course, the live birth rate achieved after the transfer of mosaic embryo were lower compared to euploid embryo, of course, even when considering only the low-level mosaic group. From a chromosomal point of view, mosaicism detected with the PGTA at the blastocyst stage persisted in 7 out of 658 pregnancies. So the rate of persistence of mosaicism in our cases are 1.06% of the cases. I want to show you just another slide on IRMET. This is the board, and this is all the center that participated in the collection of the data. And of course, I invite you to participate to the ERMET. For us, it's very important to have data on mosaic embryo. So if you are interested to participate, please let me know. And we will be very happy to have you in our group. In the last few slides, I want to show you the experience on PGT of Eurofins genoma and Eurofins gentis. Eurofins genoma is, in Italy, we are specialized on genetic testing. We are present since 1997, and so we have 25 years of experience in genetic testing. We have 4 laboratories, 2 in Rome, 1 in Milan, and 1 in Florence. We work with the NGS panel, more than 3,000 different panels, and we perform more than 200,000 tests per year with a different customer worldwide. Regarding PGT, we started in 2001, and with PGT, with the fish, PGTA and SR. And then we introduced the different PGT type, so for PGT for monogenic, for LHA genotyping, and 2 years ago we also introduced the non-invasive PGTA for neuploid and structural rearrangement, and also this year we introduced the new technology, for example, the possibility with PGTA to identify polyploids. These are our track record of publication regarding PGTA. So these are just the last 10 years. And as a part of Eurofins group, which include more than 50 laboratories worldwide, we actively collaborate, of course, within our network. And since 2022, a promising partnership with, between Eurofins Genoma and Gentis has emerged. So these are fostering both for scientific and commercial growth. Through this network, we can now offer a very broad, different option for PGT. In particular, combination of PGT, together with Gentis, we can offer conventional PGT, so PGT-A-M and PGT-SR, but also emerging PGT. And among the emerging, I will show you some data on non-invasive PGT and PGT for ploidy assessment. So these are the conventional PGT, so for neuploid screening, structural rearrangement, and monogenic disease. While regarding non-invasive PGT, I want to show you just 2 slides showing and try to convince you that this approach could represent a very good approach in the future, because with the possibility to analyze cell-free DNA released from the embryo in the spent culture, we can have a genetic profile of the embryo without touching the embryo, so without performing the biopsy. And this has been demonstrated by several publications. So this kind of approach offers the possibility to use a non-invasive methodology, so no embryo biopsy, preserving the integrity of the embryo, and also a wider accessibility, because in this case, even center without biopsy equipment can offer this genetic screening. Another technology, emerging technology, very promising, is the PGT for ploidy, ploid assessment. We know that ploidy refers to the number of chromosomes set in an embryo. While most embryos should be diploid, so with 2 copies of each chromosome, some may have abnormal ploidy levels, such as haploid, so just 1 copy, or triploidy, 3 copy, or different form of polyploid. These phenomena are very rare, actually. So 2% of natural pregnancy and account for 50% of miscarriage. But usually in embryology laboratory, embryo with pronuclei, with the different pronuclei, so abnormal pronuclei, are considered not useful for biopsy. So, because in some cases, also embryo with abnormal pronuclei are indeed diploid, with this kind of analysis, we can rescue some embryo. So this is very important. As you can see here, 3PN can be triploid or diploid. This has been demonstrated. Very rare cases, but still present. And also, embryo with 1PM can be, of course, haploid, but also diploid. And on the contrary, some embryo with the normal 2PN, these are very rare events, of course, but in some cases, embryo with the normal 2PN can be aneuploid, and this can explain sometime why euploid embryo not implant. So this could be one of the explanation. So with the use of PGT for polyploid, we can analyze embryo that look with the 1PN or more than PN, and maybe rescue these embryos. And with this technology, we can add another level of analysis to PGTA. So we can perform PGTA and also PGT next, that is for polyploid, to check if these embryo are good embryo for transfer. So the indication for PGT ploidy is that we obtained abnormal fertilization pattern, so 0, 1, or 3PN embryos, or prior polyploid or triploid pregnancy, recurrent miscarriage, because miscarriage can be also due to the presence of polyploid. So with this kind of analysis, we can have this overview here, so we can perform both NGS, so PGTA analysis for chromosomal aberration, but also using SNP, we can identify the presence of an haploidy or polyploidy within our embryos. So the advantage of polyploid are this: we can detect polyploidy errors, and of course, among fertilized embryo with the PN, with the pronuclear abnormality. And also, we can also check for, with this analysis can give us the possibility also to do quality control and ensure that the embryo that we are analyzing are from the same, our parents are from the same couple. So this is an advance that we can have with PGT for polyploid. With this, I conclude, and I want to thank, of course, all the PGT team from Gentis and from Eurofins, and thank you for your attention.